Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Sierra from Serrated Designs, and today I'm hanging out on the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. So let's jump in. So I'm going to start by hot foiling a press plate. Now I know you can do this, but I personally hadn't tried it until this point, and I think it turned out beautifully. So now I'm going to have to go and hot foil all of my press plates. But the press plate that I used is the Spellbinders Mother's and Father's Day Sentiments, and I'm also going to work with the Spellbinders Luxe backdrop and border die for this card. Now, I really kind of wanted to work with white and gold. I find it to be a very simple and elegant card, and it comes together really quickly. So you could add color to this design if you wanted to, but I'm going to stick with white and gold just because I think that it looks really pretty and it comes together quite quickly. So now I'm going to die cut out these sentiments. So that does come, the set comes with the press plate and the die cuts. So this is actually for the Better Press system. However, you can apparently use all of your Better Press plates for hot foiling as well. So now I'm going to, of course, have to try that with all of my plates, and I'm going to have to see if I can use my hot foil plates with my Better Press, just because you would think they'd be interchangeable either direction. So I'm going to have to give that a go. But I did cut them all out, and I love that you get 4 sentiments from doing this once. Like, that's just so phenomenal and versatile. Then we're going to bring in that backdrop and border that I was just talking about, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. Now, the only thing that I did see from this, like, this came out beautifully, and then you get this really cool border die that you get to cut this out, and I just wanted that kind of bottom bit of the embossing folder. The only thing I did notice was that when I put this back through my die cutting machine, it did kind of flatten a bit of that embossing. So I don't know if it would be easier to maybe cut first and then run it through the embossing folder and just kind of line it up and adhere it to the embossing folder. I'll have to play with that a little bit, but I did find, like, here you're going to see when I hold this up, it did kind of smush the embossing a little bit. Not so much that you can't see the design anymore, but a little bit so that it's not quite as visible as it was the first time I ran it through. So just something to keep in mind. So I think that honestly, if I was to try this again, I would probably cut it first, do this little die cut piece, and then line it up in the embossing folder. Just a thought. You'd have to give it a go. And of course, every die cutting machine is going to be a little bit different. So you'll have to try your machine and see what works. And then I'm going to cut down some gold cardstock because, like I said, I really want this to be a white and gold card design. So I chose to kind of cut the part that I have that little die strip there. And I'm going to cut that out of the gold cardstock so I can layer that up. Here's where I struggled a little because I couldn't decide if I wanted the whole, like, the background behind the white piece to be all gold and maybe trim it down, or if I just wanted to give it just like a little border and a touch of extra design. So I did opt in the end to add just a touch of the gold behind and save my gold panel. But I think it would have been really pretty also to have, you know, cut the gold piece just slightly bigger and then had the gold pop out around the edges as well. I didn't do that for this design, but I think that would look really cool. So keep that in mind if you want to recreate this. And of course, you could do this with any color combo. So I did white and gold, but you could easily do white and pink for Mother's Day, or maybe white and navy or gold and navy. There's so many color options to do this with, and it comes together so quickly that if you needed to produce a multiple of these cards, it would be really easy to kind of recreate and do different colors. I think that would be really fun. So here you see I'm just kind of trying to line it up and see how I want the gold to sit behind my embossed design. And I did try to run this back through just to get some of that detail back, and I did manage it in the center, but it looked like it shifted just a touch on the outside, so it's not quite as 3D on the outside pieces, but the center did go really well. So I'm glad that I got a bit more of that design back, especially that large flower kind of right in the center. And then I'm just going to adhere my layers together. So I brought in just some liquid glue so that I would have a chance to move the gold piece around and make sure that it was lined up how I wanted it to be. And I did have just a touch of overhang on one edge, so I did just trim that off. And then for a little bit of added dimension, which is something I love to do with cards that are very simple, I like it to bring in foam tape. Now, this isn't a necessary step, and if you don't own foam tape, you could just cut out a few more layers of cardstock and just layer them up. That would work too beautifully for this, but it just gives it a touch more dimension and a little bit more interest. So I used foam tape for that, but like I said, you could easily use layers of cardstock and layer them up and line it up and just trim off the top piece so that it fit. But it is A2 sized, so it's really easy to kind of line that up and create just a touch more dimension and interest in this simple card design. And of course, I did have to peel off the release paper, and I'm going to adhere it down to the top of the card base. I have an A2 sized card base here, and I'm just going to try to line it up the best that I can. I do tend to eyeball things, and I didn't get it perfect the first time, and luckily I hadn't pushed my foam tape down yet, so I was able to easily lift it back up and line it up a second time, and this time I got it lined up just a touch better, so that worked out really well. And then here it perfectly folds, so there was no issues with that at all. And then I had to decide which Mother's Day sentiment I wanted. I chose to have this Mom Thanks for Everything sentiment. I think that that's just really fun, and it adds just a touch more gold because the sentiment's slightly bigger. And I am going to nestle it in with that large flower. So I want kind of that scripty mom to be right under the big flower in the center. And I think that just adds a little bit of interest, kind of clustering that together. And of course, I will add some pearls because I cannot stop myself. I love pearls on everything. If you guys have watched any of my videos before, you'll know that I am very drawn to pearls, especially these matte gold ones, just because I think they really finish off this design beautifully. And now you absolutely could stop here and not add this little bit of glitter, but I thought it would be really fun to bring in just a touch of clear glitter on a few areas of the card. So I went for that large flower in the center, and I did the big leaves that kind of swoop to the top of the design. You don't need this, and it is clear glitter, but it does have just like a touch of a silver sparkle to it. So it's not gold, though you could bring in a gold one if you have one. I don't. But I did just want just a touch more interest that didn't steal the show and was still super subtle, but added just a little bit more something to catch your eye. But this part is completely unnecessary if you don't have a glitter pen. You could absolutely leave it like this and it would still be completely stunning and a really fun card. I think that it turned out really pretty. So I'm going to hold this up here now so you can check it out in all of its glory with its glitter. And I love how this card came together. It's really simple. It's really quick and easy to make, but I think that it has a lot of punch and it's really pretty for a person who maybe likes a more subtle card. So that is the card I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll leave us a like, leave us a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. There are a lot of phenomenal creators on the ScrapbookPal team, so please come back and check them out. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.